Welcome, friends, to Crazy Women Country, where women's voices matter. We bring you the greatest female voices in the music industry, from the artists, songwriters, and producers, to managers and executives, and all the women who make the music industry what it is today. Thank you for joining us. Welcome, friends, to another episode of Crazy Women Country. I'm Donna, and today I am here with Laura Benitez and The Heartache.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
For those of you who don't know backstory, I was making sure I practiced, and The Heartache did not come out that way earlier. So
it's a common thing that we run into for sure.
Yeah. Well, we will have to make sure that everyone knows who you are, and that is The Heartache, right? At the end.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's it.
Well, so how is the weather out in California? In Florida here, it is a little warm and toasty as usual. We're back to our normal hot and humid summers.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's absolutely gorgeous. California's showing off today. It's 75, blue skies, spectacular.
Super jealous.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. So we'd love to start off with the most difficult question.
Okay.
Are you sure you're ready?
I am not at all sure I'm ready, but I will do my best.
That's all we can ask for, right? Do the best that you can,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
Who is Laura Benitez and The Heartache?
I think we're classic country bands. Really, twangy and fun, but my friend Jose, who does a radio show sometimes here in the Bay Area, said he came up to me after playing this record and said, thank you for writing songs that are about something. And I was like, well, yeah, we have some fun beats and some songs you can definitely dance to, but everything is, we have something to say in every song. So that's who we are.
Absolutely. And let's mention your newest album coming out in September 9th, California Centuries. So tell us a little bit about that. Tell us what the process was like, the chaos of it, the good stuff.
Yeah. All the juicy stuff. Well, it was a long time in the making. I think I hadn't meant for it to take 4 years since our last record to put one out, but I became a mom and took a little bit of time out for that, and then the pandemic kind of just made it weird to be writing music. It's sort of like, okay, I'll write a song, but I'm not sure why, because I don't know when and if we'll ever do this again. And and then it's always a little strange to like write songs in that particular time period, because you don't want them to be trapped in that time period, but then you also have to kind of reflect what's happening. So we while the pandemic was happening, Bob Spector, who plays guitar on the record, and I were sort of trading demos back and forth, and I would send him just voice memos from my phone of new songs, and he has a studio in his house, so he would put some drums and guitar on them, and we kind of fleshed them out and decided on the feel for each one, and that was really fun. Actually, it was nice to have that outlet, and then we got into the studio, and when we were finally able to get in the studio, it was like a family reunion, because we hadn't seen each other in a couple of years, and it was just it was fantastic.
Absolutely. I can understand. Yeah. After COVID and the chaos of it. And
yeah.
I think that was a time period that I think we'll all remember that, kind of like different things throughout history. If we were alive during that time period and old enough to know about it, we'll remember it,
Yeah. And it's funny to, you to be in that time period, to be living through a time period where that's the case. Mm-hmm. It's kind of strange. Because on the one hand, you're like, this is a big deal, but on the other hand, you're also like, what am I going to make for dinner? So it's kind of.
I totally get that. Yeah, that's exactly how it was. Exactly. And of course, you know, being one of those people that used to work from home prior to that, it was kind of like, yeah, this isn't much different except for now, you know, I'm asking to go to the store. Stores, you know, Walmarts that used to be open like 24 hours. If I needed something, I'd be like, oh, I have to get it by 10 p.m. It's going to be closed now. Like, you know, those different little nuances. But yeah.
Well, in the music industry, you know, you kind of depend on those things that are open after 10 p.m.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal to not have that.
Absolutely. In the public and getting out and playing gigs. I mean, that's one of the biggest things that I know I've heard from a lot of musicians was getting out and playing gigs and finding that side income if they weren't session musicians and they couldn't do it like from their home, so to speak, when everything was happening. It was a very difficult time for a lot of people there.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
And when things did finally start opening up, mostly what I was doing was just playing, you know, solo gigs in people's backyards. That was kind of the only thing available.
Yeah,
Just a big change.
absolutely. Absolutely. So,
Mhm.
would you like to talk about, and now I know they're all your babies, but writing wise, were there any that you wanted, were like, oh, this was just like, you know, some people say that they were able to sit down in 20, 30 minutes, write it out, and they're like, oh, yeah, that was perfect. Like, you know, were there any songs off the album that you felt like that about, like when you were writing them?
Yeah, I think so, you know, talking about the pandemic, I wrote a song called The Shot about when I was first able to get vaccinated. So it was April of 2021. And you know, as I was standing in line out in front of a Baptist church in downtown Richmond, just with a, you know, old and young, just a wide cross section of folks just waiting for our chance to make it out of the pandemic alive. It was I was thinking about it and I was like, this is wild because I'm walking through the sanctuary of this church and they have all their Easter banners up. You know, let's say, you know, talking about being reborn, and I it just felt like the perfect place to have to be to get that treatment. So it just was really clear to me as I was driving home that that was going to be a song, and I think I wrote it that night.
Oh, wonderful. It's a great
Yeah.
song, and you'll have to go hear it once it's all released, in case you're watching
Hmm.
this before it's released. Um, but the other song we had talked about earlier was All Songs. You want to tell
Yes.
everyone a little story behind that song and how that came about?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I was telling Donna before we got on that there was a day in September, I think it was September 9th of 2020, that most folks from California will remember because it was the day when the sun didn't come up and it was dark all day. And September is usually a really hot month for us. It's usually really bright and sunny and beautiful. And it was dark and weirdly red, and the birds were freaked out, and it was just a really creepy, strange day. And your brain knows that the sun's going to come back. Like, you know, we know that it's not gone, it's just under some clouds and smoke. But it's hard for your animal nervous system not to react with just panic and fear and dread when something like that happens. So it was super scary. And what was going on with my family at that time was they were doing some lead abatement on the house that we were renting. So, you know, the beginning of the pandemic, you know, they're like, okay, well, you can't go anywhere, but you can stay in your house in your yard. And then we had to do the lead abatement. So I was like, okay, well, you can't go in your house, but you can still go in your yard. And then when the fires happened, it was like, you can't go anywhere. And so we were staying in a trailer in the front driveway of our house. And I was just in there all day with my daughter, and we couldn't go outside because the air quality wasn't good enough. And she was about 9 months old at the time. And so I was just singing her songs because she likes it when I sing. So I was keeping her entertained. And every time I would finish singing the song, she would go, because she wanted me to sing it again. And it just occurred to me that that was a really good metaphor for things ending and it feeling like the end of the world, and just, disappointment and change and all the things that you have to deal with as you grow up. And so I wrote a song about it.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about you. How'd you get started in music? When did you decide this is what I have to follow for the rest of my life?
It's funny. I think I've always wanted to write lyrics and sing and write songs, but I didn't have the confidence in my own storytelling. Like, it's kind of intimidating to put your own story out there, especially when there are so many fantastic songwriters in the world and fantastic storytellers and all this music that I love. So it's hard to say to yourself, oh, I should also, do this thing. But right around 2008, I was kind of at a point in my life where I was feeling kind of creatively frustrated, feeling like I didn't have a creative outlet. I was just kind of working, and I'd been an actor in theater for a little while, and there's that's a demanding and low paid enterprise. So, and I don't think it was really where my true passion was. It was just something that I could do, and I'd been in a band that did covers of old country tunes. We did, a lot of old Hank and Dolly and Wanda Jackson and all those fun Porter Wagner, old country songs. And I really loved the storytelling and just just like blunt, like, this is what's happening in my life. There's no flowery phrase. We're not making it any prettier than it is. This is just what's happening. And I was really inspired by that. And so I started writing country songs, and I wrote a couple, and like the third one, I was like, actually, I kind of like this song. So kind of went from there.
That's awesome. Just so awesome to see everyone's trajectory, because some people are like, oh yeah, I've known since I was 2, I was going to do this for the rest of my life. Other people are like, yeah, no, I just, yeah. And then there are people that are even older that fall into it. So
yeah, I'm a bit of a late bloomer, and I'm really a fan of, if you can get, really far in your career by the time you're 22, that's amazing, but that's not a lot of people. So
right, totally understandable. So tell me, who are some of the women that have inspired you to do music?
Well, in the country world, I think Dolly Parton is my favorite, even though it's kind of like, it's almost cliche to say, because, everybody loves Dolly, but everybody loves Dolly because she is just a phenomenal talent, sort of a once in a generation talent. I'm also a big fan of Loretta Lynn, just for just the fieriness. I love the pulls no punches in her songwriting. I like Miranda Lambert a lot as well. I think, and also not in the, sort of straight ahead country realm, but I was inspired a lot by the Indigo Girls growing up. I think that was the first time I really heard the kind of music that I wanted to make. And I'm still a huge fan. So.
Absolutely. And I love how the first 2 women actually, when you mentioned Dolly and Loretta, to me, I always think about, they're really were outlaws for their time period too, because how many of their songs were banned on radio? I mean, yeah.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. And today, obviously, we're just like, yeah, whatever, you can play that. That's nothing, But yeah,
I know.
at the time periods.
Oh yeah, very challenging material for the time.
Yeah. So would you like to do our 20 crazy questions?
Absolutely. I'm very curious to what these questions are. Let's hear them.
Okay, well, I promise you we won't get arrested yet.
not yet. Okay.
not
Maybe later.
Today. Yeah. Oh, Tigger would like to join us. This is Tigger. She's joining us
Tigger.
now. She just wants hugs, and she's like, I don't really care that you're doing an interview, Mommy. I need a hug. Okay, I will hold you.
And she knew that you needed a hug.
Yeah. Apparently, yes, Mommy needs hugs. Aw. So sweet. You're so sweet until you claw me or something, like usual.
That's the way of cat.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll get started. What's your dance like nobody's watching song? The song that you absolutely have to dance to?
Oh, I mean, honestly, there's a lot. I am unembarrassed to rock out to any song in public. It's the Puerto Rican part of my culture. I don't know how much, well, you're in Florida, so you probably know some Puerto Rican folks, but we dance in public. Like that's what we do. It's just what we do. So, I mean, really any Madonna will do it, I think. Probably like an Express Yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna really get me on the dance floor.
Perfect. So what's the perfect workout song in your opinion?
Workout songs. Boy. I don't know if I can come up with a song, but I'm gonna say I like Prince to work out to. There's a song that I think is probably from his very religious period, and so there's probably a religious significance to it that I don't understand. And if so, please forgive me, but it's a song called Seven, and it's just a really great, anthemic kind of song. So I do like to work out to that one.
I think any song can be perfect to work out to. I mean, it goes by the person's taste, right?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Tell me your top 2 favorite concerts ever.
So, so there's a music festival here in San Francisco called the Hardly Strictly Bluegrass Festival. And it was founded by a man called Warren Hellman, and he was the heir to the Hellman's mayonnaise fortune. So wealthy philanthropist and who gave to a lot of different causes. But one of the things that he did with his money was he put on a free music festival in Golden Gate Park every year that anyone could come to. And it started out as a bluegrass festival, but then it became the Hardly Strictly Bluegrass Festival so that it would be everything. Although with some, sort of a roots Americana bent, but they really did book everybody from Cyndi Lauper to, Chris Isaak to, who else did they book at that festival? Lots of people. Anyway, so it's a fantastic event. Like 500,000 people come out every year. And so I went, I want to say it was 2018 was the last time I went. And then went to see Sturgill Simpson, and he was headlining, I think, Saturday night. And it was just the most fantastic set. So good. And I think that was the same year that Cyndi Lauper was also there. And that was, I cried when she sang Time After Time. So, I mean, it's just, I mean, I love going to see live music, and I've had a lot of wonderful experiences, but I say those 2 were pretty fantastic.
That sounds really fantastic.
Oh yeah, it's the best.
Tell us an album or an artist that we need to listen to before we die.
Well, I'm gonna put in a plug for a friend of mine. They are a really talented singer-songwriter. They were living in the Bay Area for up until 2020, and they moved back to Ohio, I think, which is where they're from. But their name is Dillbilly, and it's just the latest record is just so phenomenal. And I'm gonna just so I get the name right, I want to look it up real quick. It's on my my iTunes.
Perfect.
Oh yeah. So the album is called Chaparral. So that's Dillbilly's Chaparral. And it's just really, really beautiful. And the producer that they worked with was fantastic. And it's just a really beautiful and well-written album.
Wonderful. Well, everyone go check that out after the interview.
Yes, of course. not right now.
Oh, yeah. So tell us, do you have any guilty pleasure music? That music that people don't know you listen to? Obviously, having a child, you may have some Baby Shark on iTunes there,
Well, luckily Baby Shark was a little bit before her time, peak Baby Shark a little bit before her time. So we escaped that mostly, but what's funny is that I am in no way, shape, or form a music snob. I like pretty much all music, everything from classical to pop. Like I don't have a genre that I don't like. There's artists that I don't like, but there's nothing where I can say I do not like that kind of music, because I love it all, and I don't really care if it's commercial, and I don't care if it's dance music, and I don't care if it's really popular. Like I just think that if it's moving and it's interesting and it's fun, then who cares if you like it, so I would say, like, probably because I grew up with Billy Joel, I think that's probably my guilty pleasure, because people like to hate on him for being earnest and popular, and that's fine. I get why people aren't fans, but I grew up with it, so I'm always gonna have a soft spot.
Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I like all music. So I'm like, there's some songs I will probably say that I dislike, but or here or there. And I'm like, I don't understand the popularity of a couple of them, but they usually fall into that bromance category somewhere way down, historical, I'm like, yeah, okay, it was a great song for drinking too. That was about it. So
sure.
Oh,
you had a fun night back in 2007. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that was great. That was wonderful. It was a good song that night. Yeah, that was it. The end. Oh, so tell me, hypothetically, if I came to you and said, I need to hide a dead body, do you know a good place?
Well, I mean, I don't know what this says about me, but I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts. So sadly, I do know a good place, I think. And I don't know that, I'm sure this information's out there, but I think the best place to hide one is an old mine. Like, if you can find an old mine shaft in an out of the way place, there's just a lot of them, and they're really remote. So that's it's kind of the best place. Just, just between me and you.
Yeah. Just between you and I. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's perfect. That is a new one. I have not heard that one yet. I was like, oh, that's good. I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, do you have a game plan for zombie apocalypse?
Definitely. Okay, so um first of all, just personally, like, zombies, like, I'm scared of everything, but for whatever reason, zombies don't scare me that much. Don't come for me, zombie apocalypse nation, like, you tend to tell me all the ways that they should be scary. They just don't. And because I'm scared of everything, like, I don't need to put that on myself. But at the same time, it's always good to be prepared. So zombie apocalypse, I'm pretty good with weapons. I'm fierce. I have, I'm very Californian. I don't like guns or anything violent, but if I have to, obviously, I feel like I could make that happen. So I'm on the armaments, and then my partner Brian is a long distance cyclist. So he knows all of the back, like, back roads, all the unpopulated places where there's not going to be tons of zombies. So, like, he's in charge of escape routes. We get on the bicycle, we pack what we can, and we take those back roads, and I'm, and I'll, be on defense. That's the zombie apocalypse plan.
Perfect. I love that plan. That's a great plan. Oh, tell us, what job would you be terrible at doing?
Oh, there's a lot. I'm not employable at most things that make a lot of money. So, like, and especially things that are very specifically like finance, because I just don't care enough about it. And you think you have to really want to make money in order to really make money. So, like, say, any kind of, like, stock trading, real estate. Like, I just am not a mover and a shaker like that. Like, I don't care enough. So
Yeah, I think you're right. I think some of those areas you do have to be like really into it, and
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, as far as me for real estate, like, I would love to do that only because I love houses and I love construction of them and like remodeling, doing things like that's my it's not about money on that one at all. So, but yeah.
I would love, like, the only thing I like about the idea of being real estate is getting to go and like see a bunch of people's houses. But I think
Yeah.
that's just me wanting to do interior design. Like that's not
Yes.
that's for me, wanting to be in the business of selling houses. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. If you won the lottery, what's the
Yes.
first thing you would do?
So I've had this plan for a long time and I don't play the lottery, so I should probably actually play if I'm going to have this plan for what I would do with my lottery winnings. But so it would be to start a record label that would give grants to musicians who don't have the funds to make records, because I know a lot of really amazing musicians who don't have the resources to record, and I know that they have great music to put out there. So I would love to do that. And as we all know, like having a record label is not exactly a money-making enterprise for most for most of them. So if I could do it, you know, as just a passion project, I think that would be the way to go.
That would be awesome. So yeah, you would have to occasionally spend $2 or whatever. I think that's what most of those bigger lottery, Powerball, Mega Millions, right? $2.
I
Every
should
once in a
at
while
least,
pay $2. Yeah.
I should at least play the Powerball every now and then
Yeah.
if I'm gonna dream. Yeah.
Yeah. I figure it this way. I'm like, okay, I could go buy myself a drink, you know, like a soda or water or something when I'm out, or I could spend $2 and yeah. Who knows? You never know,
knows?
right?
You never know.
Yeah. The big winners don't seem to be in Florida though for those big multi-state things. That's all I do know. So I'm gonna have to go out of state to buy a ticket apparently. No.
Yeah, you're gonna have to go for a little drive to
Yeah.
Georgia.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me, what's the last thing you read or what you're currently reading?
I am reading a book. So I have a book club that we've had for the last 5 years, some friends and I, and we read mostly novels. And the last one that we read that I'm not quite finished with is called The Firekeeper's Daughter, and it's sort of a true crime YA novel set in northern Michigan, and there's a romance, and it's like drug dealers, and yeah, it's pretty good so far.
Yeah. Great recommended reading if you haven't read that book, everyone.
Yeah, it's super good.
Yeah. Oh, do you prefer boots or heels?
Oh, boots. I haven't worn heels in 10 years. And it's funny, I started wearing cowboy boots and then went back to try and put on a pair of my old heels, and I was like, oh, hell no. This is not happening. I don't know how I used to wear these. I'm not doing it. So yeah.
I know what you mean. I working from home and stuff, I was always like being in Florida here, obviously barefoot, flip flops, things like that, sneakers, you know, and normal day activities, if you will. And I'm like, I went to put a pair of heels on. I'm like, oh, this is so uncomfortable. How did I do this all the day and actually feel comfortable in these? Like
it just doesn't compute, especially post-pandemic. Like it just does. It makes no sense to me. I don't know how people do it.
Oh, who would play you in a movie about your life?
Well, this is a tough one. But yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Who would you want to play you? Anyone, favorite actress, maybe?
I think the person who's always come to mind is Jessica Alba. I don't know that I think she may have retired to do her healthcare brand, but if we could convince her to come back to the screen, I would say she'd probably be a good choice.
Okay, I'll put it in call tomorrow. We'll just get her to sign up for that. Yeah.
Yeah, if
no
you could
worries, we got it covered.
Good. If you could just give Jessica a text, shoot her a text.
Yeah. So I'll just do that right after we're done here. Yeah.
Exactly.
So this next question has been very difficult. Where's Waldo?
He's over there.
Oh no, is he behind me again? I'm starting to feel this like I'm telling you, there's this horror movie story that's coming to mind, and I'm really gonna write this. And everyone's gonna have to bring in some really good music for it, like some
He's just poking out right from behind your head. Creepy little guy.
I'm starting to feel really paranoid anymore. Okay, so we're gonna take that question off the list. What's the thing since sliced bread, in your opinion? Oh,
Oh, the best thing since sliced bread. So, I like to, one of my hobbies is I like to sew. And the when I learned to sew, I'm gonna date myself here slightly, but when I learned to sew back in the 80s, you would have pins would come in this little plastic box that had a little flip up lid, and the flip up lid
yeah.
didn't attach very well, and you would open it and they'd fly off. I'm a little clumsy
Mhm.
anyway, so it would always, but it would just be pins on the floor, always be just be pins on the floor. You'd always be stepping on them. It was just the worst. And then sometime in like the early 90s, they came up with this a magnetic pin cushion, which I'm like, how did we not think of this before?
Right?
And the problem is gone. It's just gone. And it's been around for 20 years, probably 25 years, and I'm still like not over the magnetic pin cushion. Like it's the best thing that ever happened.
Oh, that is awesome. I'm horrible at sewing. I can sew on a button, needle and thread, old fashioned.
Good, good. That's all I gotta do.
Here's the personal story that no one gets to hear. I've done like my mom showed me how to use the sewing machine, right? So I was doing all great with this, doing awesome stuff. I'm like, oh, let me try these jeans because we were doing something. Yeah, I was like, this would be really
Oh.
cool to do. Next thing I know is I'm like, ow, ow. I just kind of sewed my finger into my jeans, and I'm like, yep. Sewing is probably not for me. I am that talented. I am usually coordinated, but apparently not with sewing. So that was like the first and last time I really used the sewing machine.
Yeah, yeah. I've sewed my finger. It does happen, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens to the
Yeah.
best of us. Absolutely.
So yeah, so I figured I was like, this is probably not my thing. I'm better at woodworking. I don't cut myself. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, everybody has their medium, and
Yeah.
I think it's very similar, woodworking and sewing. It's just a different, there's not that like needle threatening you all the time.
Yeah,
So
I think it is the needle because I'm terrified of needles, and so is this. So I think that might have been it. I think that was that the whole. It might have
a
just
lot
been
of
that whole.
a
Mhm.
lot of people have there's that the ick factor with the needle. Yeah, no, it's real.
Yeah. So, would you rather cook or order in?
Oh, I love to cook. I love to cook. So yeah, that's definitely a cook. Mhm.
Perfect. Well, what's the worst pizza topping if you were to order a pizza in?
You know, I don't like so this is the typical like Hawaiian pizza thing, but it's not that I don't like the pineapple on the pizza. Like I like a sweet and salty combo. So
Mm-hmm.
in general, I'm on board, but what I don't like is when the toppings are watery. This is true for like a fresh tomato on pizza too. I feel like it releases too much liquid and then it's kind of soggy and it like waters down the sauce. So that's my problem with the pineapple. I feel like if we could like dehydrate the pineapple or just really like press the water out of it,
Or
then
like
I'd
grill it and then put it on after it's done,
yeah,
like at
grill
the
it.
end.
See, there you go. Grilled. See, that would totally do it. Just dry it out a little bit and I would love it. But mostly it's just like this wet, like they take it straight from the can and like put it right on there. I'm like, that's not
Yeah.
nobody wants that.
Okay.
It's not good.
Yeah, I kind of get that. Yeah. I prefer it fresh anyway. Throw it on the grill and then throw it on the pizza. No, that's just
Ugh,
me. I like everything
fresh.
grilled though. So
Oh, well, like grilled fruit in general is delicious and grilled pineapple. I mean, fresh pineapple is fantastic.
Mhm. Absolutely. Okay. So I don't have to ask you the pineapple debate since you've already answered that. What do you wish would magically clean itself? The car, the
Uh,
house.
Oh, I mean, really all of it. I mean, I think the floor, like I don't like
Yeah.
mopping. So I'd say the floor. And also the thing is like if the floor is clean, it feels like everything's clean kind of,
Mhm.
even if it's not. So yeah, I think that would take
Yeah.
care of a lot.
Perfect. Love it. Tell us something on your bucket list.
Hmm. Um, well, I mean, I have a few things, but I've always wanted to do a European tour, which I have yet to do. That's always sounded really fun. And there's a lot of places I want to tour in general, but I think that would be great. So that's kind of a bucket list thing for me.
Okay, let's get that going for next year, for
Yeah,
2023.
yeah.
Yeah.
Any tour promoters out there? I would love to play Hamburg. Uh, Barcelona, I'm down. Just let me know. Hit me up.
Perfect. Is now out there in the universe. The universe hopefully will deliver, right? That's the theory.
Absolutely.
If you could be any person or a position like a CEO, a doctor, or a lawyer, or a person like Dolly Parton, who or what position would you want to be for the day and why?
Oh, for the day? I mean, it would be interesting to be Dolly for the day. I think that's a really tough one. I mean, it's hard because I really, oh, this is gonna sound super cheesy, but like I really like where I am. I don't know that I wish to be in any other position. It's hard to like, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
But it would be cool to be Dolly for the day. I can't disagree with that. I mean,
Well, for the wardrobe alone, I mean, just, but yeah, yeah, I'll go with Dolly for the day since we mentioned it. I mean, I don't think I can improve on that.
yeah. Do you have any words of wisdom that you live by? And if so, what are they?
I think the words of wisdom I live by the most is a expression that I've seen in Spanish, which is la verdad aunque me duele, which means the truth even though it hurts me, or even though it hurts. And that's sort of how I am in the world. Is just I feel like I'm a truth teller, for better or for worse. So yeah, I think that the truth really will set you free. I think it's really a lot of the ills of the world come from hidden truths and dishonesty. So yeah, I think those are my words of wisdom.
Beautiful. So
Thank you.
what does the rest of the year hold? Obviously, we have the album release on September 9th, doing some touring.
Yeah, I got some shows lined up until about December, but yeah, I mean, I feel like this was a really personal album, and it all the songs really mean a lot to me, and I'm really proud of it. So I'm trying to just take a moment to enjoy putting it out there in the world. And I think the pre-pandemic kind of hamster wheel of like, okay, got the album out, now I've got to release the video, and now we gotta do the tour, and now we gotta, sort of the next steps I've let go of a little bit. And yeah, I think I just want to enjoy putting it out there.
Absolutely. I think sometimes we get to that like you said, hamster wheel. And I think that's anywhere, whether it's releasing music or whatever you're doing in life sometimes. And it's just
Yeah.
nice to be in the moment and appreciate it as it
Yeah.
is.
Trying to be in the moment.
Yeah. So everyone, make sure you go check out Laura's site. I'll have the links in the descriptions as usual. And go check out the new album, pre-save, or if we're already released here, make sure you go check it out.
Yes.
So it has been a pleasure having you on today, and you're welcome back anytime. And
This
Tigger's
was so
saying
much
hey
fun.
again. She's like climbing back up. She's like, what's going on?
Oh, I know. There should always be cats at every interview. It makes it much better.
Say hi. Say bye.
Sorry, I'm such a cat person.
She's like, no. She's like, no, I know. Let me sit down again.
She's not ready to be on camera.
She has her moments. She's a cat. She does what she wants. That's how cats work.
Yeah, absolutely.
But thank you again. And like I said, anytime, you're welcome back. And thank you, friends, for joining us for another episode of Crazy Women Country. Have a wonderful day. See you later. If you enjoyed today's episode of Crazy Women Country, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Be sure to click the subscribe button for new interviews weekly. And thank you, friends, for joining us today on Crazy Women Country, where women's voices matter.